What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And we're coming at you with another video today. We are going to be doing our Week 12 predictions. This is where we're going to predict every single matchup in the NFL in Week 12. We are competing over the course of the entire season, keeping track of our score, which is tied after I went 10-4 last week. T-Bone went 8-6, and so over the last 2 weeks I have cut off, completely taken away T-Bone's 4-game lead, so we are tied headed into this week. So the stakes are high. And if you want to play alongside us, feel free to do so. Drop your own predictions in the comments. We'd love to hear what you all have to say. And with that being said, let's get into it. First things first, there are no buys in the NFL this week. That means there are 16 games being played. All 32 NFL teams will play, and it is Thanksgiving week. So we're going to get some fun and festivities throughout the NFL. And it's looking to be a pretty good one. Starting off with the Detroit Lions hosting the Green Bay Packers. The Lions coming off of a tight win over the Chicago Bears, in which they were able to get a late touchdown and secure victory in a comeback win against their divisional rivals. A game that they would have liked to have played better in. Obviously some defensive concerns. But the Lions winning a lot of football games, second best record in the NFL, playing pretty darn good, headed into another big divisional game against the Packers, who are coming off of their own upset win over the Chargers. Jordan Love had easily his best game of the year. Last couple of weeks, the Packers starting to figure it out a little bit. Maybe they can carry some of that momentum into this game against Detroit, see if they're able to do anything. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yes, so I think this could be a very good game because both teams have gotten, I believe, better since the beginning of this year and just are continuing to move and just produce well. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Packers are really starting to get their groove. That being said, I do have the Lions. I just think the Lions are just the better, fully more complete team that just is more in their own group.
I've got the Lions winning this one as well. I think they're the better team. I think they're going to have a better game. This game is in Detroit. Home field advantage, always nice. So, I have Detroit. Alrighty, the next Thanksgiving game is going to be the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Washington Commanders. The Cowboys coming off of an absolute blowout win over the Carolina Panthers. A result that they expected. They played excellent football, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We were able to get 7 sacks, generate an interception, held the Panthers to only 77 total yards of passing offense. Just a great game all around from Dallas. They've been very good as of late. Whereas the Commanders, coming off of an upset loss to the New York Giants, in which they allowed the Giants to score points, which I don't think anyone thought was possible. Commanders have been very up and down team this year. They have not played good as of late, though, especially after giving up a lot of their big players at the trade deadline. It's been an ugly year for this team. But that being said, it is a divisional matchup, which means everything you know about either team goes out the window. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, you really got to watch out for those divisional matchups. They really can make or break some teams' seasons. That being said, I do think that the Cowboys are just a more complete team, fully more together, offense, defense, special teams, the whole works. That being said, there are some gems in Washington, but that being said, they did trade away some of their gems. So I'm not disparaging. Howell. I just think the Cowboys are better. I've got the Cowboys.
I got the Cowboys winning this one as well. Commanders been able to make some noise, especially against the Eagles. Had 2 really good games against the Eagles, but couldn't win those. Don't think they'll be able to get the job done in Dallas. And finally, for a final Thanksgiving game, this will be the night game, we've got ourselves the Seattle Seahawks taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Seahawks coming off of an upset loss against the Rams, in which they are going to want that one back. Myers missed the game-winning field goal Overall, not a great day for the Seahawks on the offensive side of the ball. Defense did what they needed to do. Offense, some concerns. They've been a little lackluster the last few weeks, and some questions are starting to pop up for this team, and they really need a bounce back. Like, this is a must-win game for them if they want to be in the battle to win the division. Whereas the 49ers, coming off of the total destruction of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they played excellent football in that game. Brock Purdy looked really good. George Kittle had a great game. Defense all around looked great. I mean, the 49ers are just playing great football right now. So, these are two of the best teams in the league fighting over a division spot. Headed into Seattle on Thanksgiving night under the bright lights. The stakes are high, and it's looking like it could be a very good one. T-Bone, your thoughts?
It definitely is going to be a very good game. I think both teams are going to make a lot of noise. Both teams are going to be real well and in what they do. I think they're both, despite the loss the Seahawks have, I think they are starting to get their groove a little bit more. And overall, just two great teams going against each other. That being said, I think the 49ers are better, so I do have the Niners.
I also have the San Francisco 49ers getting the win. They're just playing better football. They're the better team right now. Seattle, the last few weeks, haven't been as good as normal, and just based off that, I think San Francisco's got this one locked up. Alrighty, now for a Friday afternoon game, Black Friday, we've got ourselves the New York Jets hosting the Miami Dolphins. The Jets coming off of an ugly loss to the Buffalo Bills in which it was not pretty. Zach Wilson playing absolutely terrible, and so bad that the Jets have decided that Tim Boyle is going to be their starting quarterback for this game. The Jets, a very talented football team held back by beyond subpar quarterback play. It's been such a rough year for such a good squad, and you gotta feel sorry for them. There's the frustration, but the inconsistent quarterback play has really hurt them, and Tim Boyle has not done a very good job in the opportunities he's had in the NFL so far in his career, so there are a lot of questions for them heading into this game, whereas the Miami Dolphins, coming off of a rather unconvincing win over the Raiders, they're a team with a lot of questions around themselves about how good are they really. Is their record a fluke from their easy schedule? You know, can they beat the best of the best like Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, 49ers? You know, that kind of stuff. They have not beaten a team above 500, and if they beat the Jets, that will be the case. So, a lot of questions for both teams headed into this one. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, especially with that, you know, you were talking about the replaced quarterback, so Tim Boyle's starting and all that. But I have the Dolphins. I just think they're gonna, though that defense is nice. The Jets' defense is nice. I just have the Dolphins. I just think they're better. Though this will answer a lot of questions.
I expect the Dolphins to get the job done here. It's just not been pretty for the Jets. The Jets also just lost to the Raiders, who the Dolphins just beat. So, just based off of that, those two very recent games, I think you got to go with the Dolphins here. Finally, we're on to the Sunday matchups. So the first Sunday game coming up next, we've got ourselves the Indianapolis Colts hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Colts, coming off of the bye week, they will be well rested headed into this one. A home game as well for them. They're a team who have been a bit all over the place this year, inconsistent, but overall not great. Obviously, losing Anthony Richardson really hurt them. Shaq Leonard just got cut today. Interesting story went out of there. But the Colts haven't been great, but they're going to be well rested in this one. Whereas the Buccaneers started off strong. The last 2 weeks haven't been their best. Just got blown out by the 49ers, which, I mean, they're the 49ers. What can you expect? The Buccaneers have had a bit of a tough sketch. You know, they've already ran into Philly and San Francisco, who are the two best teams in the NFL. But they're still a team that can be good. They still have solid players on the defensive side of the ball. They still have some decent offensive weapons, you know, so. But they've just been a bit inconsistent. But the division race is wide open and there for the taking if they want it. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, it definitely could be open for the tanking. I mean, you know how weak it is, so I certainly think that it could be an interesting bout. I think that the Colts are, despite losing Richardson, I do think that they have done well to with the players that they've been given and using. So I'm down on the Buccaneers. I just think that even though Baker is playing good, I think that the Buccaneers are kind of just throwing away a lot of their stuff. So I do have the Colts winning this one.
I've got the Buccaneers coming away with a much-needed win. I mean, their team with playing a poor team, they have an opportunity. Buccaneers have generally done well against some of the lesser teams in the NFL, even with their inconsistent play, so I do think that they'll be able to get the job done this week. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the New York Giants hosting the New England Patriots. The Giants coming off of a surprise upset win against the Washington Commanders, where they actually did this thing called score points, which I don't think anyone thought was possible for them. So Tony DeVito just played very good in that game. I mean, the Commanders aren't exactly a great team, and they just sold all of their best defensive players, but still a much, much needed win for a struggling and hurt Giants team who've just had a not good year. Whereas the New England Patriots coming off of the bye and looking to head into New York and get a much needed victory. They really, really need to win this one. It's been a rough season for New England. The play has been subpar, and the injuries have really hurt them as well, so, T-Bone, your thoughts.
Yeah, I love DeVito so much. He's just an Italian dude, just going to work. I love the Giants. That's a joke. I don't. I love DeVito. Has more multiple passing touchdown games than Kenny Pickett. I think that the Giants are going to beat the Patriots. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be a bad game to watch. I'm not going to watch it really. I don't really intend on watching it. I just think that Saquon and DeVito can get stuff done.
I have absolutely no faith in either team this week, which is why I've chosen the New England Patriots to get the job done, just because win, please. I want my team to win. They also are going to be coming off the bye and need a win. And I also expect Bill Belichick to be able to make DeVito's life hell, because he tends to do that to young quarterbacks. So even with the defensive injuries, I think New England should be able to come away with this one. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bengals coming off of a brutal loss to the Baltimore Ravens, in which their quarterback, Joe Burrow, got knocked out for the rest of the season. Absolutely hate that for him. Absolutely hate that for the team. A team that had finally found their groove and were looking like they could be among the best in the entire league, only for it to be ended in an instant. We absolutely feel for them, so obviously a lot of questions having to play their backup headed into this game against Pittsburgh, whereas the Steelers, coming off of an ugly loss against the Cleveland Browns, in which it was a very typical AFC North matchup. And I can very much see this game being another one of those. Ugly, 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 ugly. T-Bone, your thoughts?
It is going to be ugly. That's death taxes and just it's being ugly. I think that they are really going to feel the loss of Joe Burrow. I've got the Steelers defense carving up the Bengals offense, even though they have all of their weapons. I think the quarterback is really the key piece, and I think that the Steelers are going to get that win.
I have also got the Steelers getting it done without Joe Burrow. Even with the offensive weapons they have, I just have a hard time seeing the Bengals be able to get the job done. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Tennessee Titans taking on the Carolina Panthers. The Titans coming off of an absolute blowout loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, in which they looked absolutely terrible. The Titans are among the worst teams in the NFL. The only other team in the AFC besides the New England Patriots to have less than 4 wins this year. Just not a great year from them. And it was kind of expected to be a rebuilding year, but there's going to be a bit of disappointment, especially with how wide open the division could be if they'd gotten some better results. So, whereas the Panthers are coming off of an absolute blowout loss against the Dallas Cowboys, in which they looked absolutely terrible. The Panthers are the worst team in the NFL. They've looked like it all year. There really isn't much else to say about them. T-Bone, your thoughts?
It didn't really appreciate that drag, but that's fine, I guess. The Titans, as bad as they are, Panthers are worse, so the Titans are going to win. That's about it.
Yeah. It's going to be a horrible, awful, ugly game, but I do have the Tennessee Titans getting the win as well. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Battle for the lead in the AFC South. The Texans coming off of a tight win over the Arizona Cardinals, in which C.J. Stroud played probably his worst game through 3 interceptions, but still found a way to get the job done. Overall, the Texans have been playing very good football. D'Amico Ryans has done a very good job with that squad. C.J. Stroud overall playing excellent football. Some people even have him in the MVP conversation. It's been that good. Offensive Rookie of the Year is his. Even if he gets hurt for the rest of the year, I think he still wins it. He's just been that good for Houston. Whereas the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off of the murder of the Tennessee Titans, which was previously referenced, they have been playing well enough to win games against the bad teams that they have played, but they haven't played a very convincing brand of football so far this year. A lot of questions around this team, but a big opportunity for them to separate themselves from the Texans in the race for the division. They did get murdered by the Texans 37-17 earlier in the year, so a lot riding on this one. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I think it's a Jags revenge game, and I think the Jags are going to win. I think the Texans are the better team. I just think the Jags are going to win because it's a divisional game, and divisional games happen, and Stroud is still a rookie.
I have the Houston Texans beating the Jacksonville Jaguars for the second time, getting the sweep and taking the lead at the top of the division. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a fun game, but I do see Houston making it happen. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New Orleans Saints. The Falcons coming off a bye. The Saints also coming off a bye. Both teams going to be well rested heading into this one, and both teams have played very inconsistent football. A lot left on the field, a lot left to be desired. Talent on the field, but without the results, it feels like. Lots of concerns for both teams, but both are fighting to win the NFC South. It's an ugly division, and this is a huge game for that battle. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Ugly game, ugly teams, bad play. That being said, I think the Saints are slightly more competent, so the Saints have got the win.
I think the Saints are going to be able to get the job done as well. I just don't know with the Falcons, so even though the Saints aren't that great either, I trust them a little more than I trust Atlanta. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The Cardinals coming off of a tough loss to the Houston Texans, in which they were able to get 3 interceptions off of C.J. Stroud, but still could not get the job done. Kyler Murray looking pretty good for Arizona. The rest of Arizona, however, not so great. I mean, it's not been a great year for Arizona. They got Murray back, and he's doing everything he can. He even single-handedly won him a game a couple weeks ago, but the Cardinals are just not that good of a football team. Whereas the Rams, coming off of an upset win over the Seattle Seahawks, getting the season sweep on them after Myers missed the game-winning field goal try. And the Rams, a team who've been a bit all over the place this year. They've had their ups, they've had their downs, but overall they've settled at mid. So, bad versus mid, anything could happen. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Cardinals are bad. Kyler is good, but Cardinals are bad, so Kyler will be okay this game. That being said, Cardinals bad. Rams are doing okay. They're kind of Carson Wentz is doing stuff, I guess. Rams win.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good analysis for this one. I've got the Rams getting the job done as well. I think you absolutely nailed that one. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Denver Broncos taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Broncos coming off of I don't know if I want to call it an upset win or what, against the Minnesota Vikings. The Broncos have really turned their season around. Sean Payton's done an excellent job after a rough start. Russell Wilson playing good. Cortland Sutton has been excellent. And so the Broncos are going to be riding high headed into this one, whereas the Browns, coming off of a tight win over the Pittsburgh Steelers in what was typical ugly AFC North football. Obviously, Deshaun Watson out for the year is going to be tough. Dorian Thompson-Robinson has been adequate in the starting role, done what he's needed to do, had a clutch drive against Pittsburgh, but there's still questions around him and the team. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yes, so I definitely think this is probably going to be one of the best games, I guess. I don't like saying that, but I think they're just both performing better than expected. That being said, I finally got one over. Super Bowl 50 hate is finally subsiding. Russ is cooking. I've got Broncos winning, though that does not mean DTR is not going to be good. I just think the Broncos are just going to do a little bit better.
I also have the Broncos getting the job done. I just think with the Browns, there's too many questions. Even though their defense is playing really good, the Broncos have just been playing really good overall as a football team, and their offense has been going really well. So I think this is going to be a really, really tight game, but I do think the Broncos are going to be able to squeak out the win in this one. Alrighty, up next, we've got ourselves the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Buffalo Bills. The Eagles coming off of a win over the Kansas City Chiefs, in which they were able to shut out the Chiefs in the second half and complete a 10-point comeback after being down 17-7 going into halftime of that one. Eagles, best team in the NFL. Only one loss this year. Overall, they have been excellent. They've always found a way to win the game even when it's been ugly. Whereas the Bills, coming off of a win over the New York Jets, a game in which it was more the Jets sucked than the Bills played good. The Bills have not been playing very well over the last few weeks, and I don't know, it just feels like they're on a bit of a free fall right now. Josh Allen not playing great. They just fired their offensive coordinator. It's been a rough year in Buffalo. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Though I do think that the Bills are going to make the playoffs, I think this is going to be one of the games that they lose because the Eagles are the Eagles and the Bills are the Bills, and the Bills will build themselves.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good description. I think the Eagles are going to get the job done. They're just a really well-built team, and I think with the concerns about the Bills and the turnovers with Josh Allen and everything, I think the Eagles will feast upon that and get the job done. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders coming off of an ugly loss to the Miami Dolphins. A game in which neither team played great. Aiden O'Connell looking alright, did throw a game-losing interception in the end zone to Jalen Ramsey. The Raiders have been better after the McDaniels firing, but they're still not a great football team. Whereas the Chiefs, coming off of a tough loss to Philadelphia Eagles, in which all they needed to do to win was score a touchdown in the second half, and they put up a big fat 0 for their fourth consecutive game. Lots of concerns for the Chiefs there, but their defense is playing absolutely spectacularly, and it's a big reason why they've won as many games as they have. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Certainly, I think this game is going to be closer than people think. I mean, I like Aiden O'Connell. I think he's been playing pretty solid. I think that the Raiders are really in their groove. That being said, the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs. It's been the Chiefs.
I've got the Kansas City Chiefs getting the job done as well. They're just the better team. The Raiders, I don't think, can keep up with them, even with the Chiefs' struggles. Alrighty, for Sunday Night Football, we've got ourselves the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Chargers coming off of a tough upset loss to the Green Bay Packers, in which a dropped pass ruined an opportunity to tie or win the game for them. The Chargers have had an overall disappointing year. Herbert has been solid, but everything else around him has been completely falling apart for the Chargers. Coaching has been terrible. Brandon Staley should have been fired a while ago. He has been terrible for Los Angeles. Things are not going well for them. Whereas the Ravens, a team that's had injury struggles, just lost Mark Andrews for the year, but they got a good win over the Bengals last week, and having played on Thursday will come in with a couple extra days of rest. And they're looking like they might be the best team in the AFC. They have been so good this year. Obviously some concerns with injuries, but overall they've been playing excellent football. T-Bone, your thoughts?
The Chargers need to fire Staley before Chargers charge away the entire Chargers charge. Poor Herbert, thrown away his entire career for the Chargers. I think Lamar is going to trample all over the Chargers.
I've got the Ravens getting the job done as well. They're just the better football team. It's been ugly for the Chargers. So the Ravens are playing very good football right now. I think they're going to be able to get the job done in Los Angeles. And finally, it's going to be Monday Night Football. We've got ourselves the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears. The week starts with an NFC North matchup and ends with an NFC North matchup. The Vikings coming off of a disappointing loss to the Denver Broncos, in which they were unable to hold on to a late lead, couldn't get the job done against an admittedly surging Broncos team. But Josh Dobbs has looked pretty good. The Vikings overall look like they're solid, and they're looking like they could make a push for the playoffs after their really bad start to the season. They've done a good job turning things around, even with the injury to Kirk Cousins. Whereas the Bears, coming off of a tough loss to the Lions, in which their offense actually looked pretty good, but they just couldn't hang on at the end. Bears have been a bit up and down, but they had one of their better games last week, so maybe they can carry some of that momentum, even though it was a loss, into this one. They'll definitely be hungry after the way last week's game ended. T-Bone, your thoughts?
The Vikings are kind of up and down a little bit, but they have started to recover a little bit. I think the Vikings are going to win. The Bears are like even slightly better. I think they'd have a chance, but I think the Bears had a fluky game last week, and it's you know it's bad when the Bears losing is a fluky game. Them almost winning is a fluky game. So yeah, I've got the Vikings.
I also have the Vikings getting the job done in this one. I just trust them more. They've been playing better than the Bears. And it's like you said, I think it's more likely the Bears had a fluke week than them actually starting to turn it around. Alrighty, that is going to wrap things up for this week. Please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Feel free to drop your own predictions. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.